Hey guys, welcome to Ukrainian Couple. It's great to have you on our channel. If you're new here, we used to live in Ukraine for 10 years and now recently we moved to the US. And this is my first time I'm making a video out of this cozy little office that I have over here. And yeah, it's pretty cozy, it's pretty nice. I hope I'm gonna make more videos out of here. But I'm also gonna make videos outside of here and maybe talk to the Ukrainian community here. So now that we're here, will me, Ira, and Oreo ever go back to Ukraine again? Well, from the looks of it, I don't think so, because it seems that the war is gonna go for a long time. And it's already been a year that this war has been going on, and I think it's gonna go for another 2, maybe 3 years. But at the same time, as the title of this video states, I'm pretty confident that Ukraine is going to retake back Crimea and Donbas and pretty much all of the Ukrainian lands that Russia managed to, annex and invade since 2014. And it might seem contradictory, like how is Ukraine going to win even though the war is going to go on for so long? Well, maybe 2 years is a stretch, maybe it's going to be 1 year, but nevertheless, it's going to go on for a long time. Well, in this video, I'll try to explain why that is the case, why Ukraine will eventually retake Donbas and Crimea and all of the land that it lost since 2014. Well, we have to look at some facts first of all. Number one, Putin's invasion of Ukraine is the biggest land grab we've ever seen, since 1945, since the end of World War II. And it's the single biggest nuclear escalation since the 1963 Cuban Missile Crisis, when the Soviet Union put missiles on Cuba and pointed them towards the United States. And we have never seen such a wide-ranging sanctions regime against the country. The last time it happened was when North Korea was involved. But what will happen to Ukraine? Well, they're going to continue fighting. That is pretty much a certainty. So yeah, let's end the video right here because that's it, right? There's not much more to talk about. But really, Ukraine has proven time and time again it's got the committed troops, it's got the talented and dedicated commanders, it's got officers that are determined and great at their job, and they've got NATO intelligence. There's been a lot of talk as to why Ukraine actually made a pause. I mean, Ukraine was pretty successful in August and September when it retook Kherson. It retook most of the Kharkiv Oblast as well. But I think the main reason the offensive stalled was because of the late fall, early winter conditions, right? You have a lot of mud, you have a lot of wet rain, and it's really difficult for any kind of heavy machinery to make its way through there. It's very hard to do any kind of a land assault. And then you of course have this logistical issue of the Dnipro River, and Ukraine's trying to get across it, and it's not easy as it seems. And there's a huge front line. We're looking at thousands of kilometers in length, which Russia's on one side and Ukraine on the other side, and there's a lot. It's like a quagmire on both sides, really. But one thing for sure, we're going to see a renewal of fighting come spring, or maybe even towards the end of winter. Or maybe even we're going to see a renewal of fighting right in the middle of winter, because the ground's going to freeze enough for the machinery to move across, move there and back, and we're going to see more fighting, I think, flare up right in the middle of winter. So what will the Ukrainian offensive look like? Will it be like a lightning fast seizure? Or is it going to be like a very slow, methodical type of, chipping away at the occupied territory? Well, I think it could go either way, but Ukraine will slowly take back its territory. There's one big variable, though, to all of that, and that is how much the Western support is going to continue in Ukraine. And I think 3 big things will impact how much support Ukraine gets in the coming year. Number one, it's going to be for sure a difficult winter for Europe in 2022-23 and 2023-24. I mean, many European countries are already at the edge of a recession. I mean, the solution for many of them is to boost interest rates to fight inflation, right? But there's this risk that the economy could, tailspin into a recession as purchasing power drops and the economy, or in general, the economy slows down, jobs are lost, and unemployment rises. Number 2, some massive economic troubles hit the United States, and the general public in general will be forced to divert its attention elsewhere. I mean, they will have to essentially focus inward and cut spending to Ukraine. I mean, if things like energy costs go up, heating bills rise, the food prices go up, gasoline prices rise. I mean, yeah, if all these things happen, then people will start asking questions, why can't I just live normally, right? And then, of course, support for Ukraine, unfortunately, will dry up. Another thing can preoccupy America, right? What if China ramps up the rhetoric around Taiwan, right? I mean, that would be great for Putin, I think. And, I mean, heaven forbid, if Trump wins the election, right? I personally believe, and I think it's pretty objective to say, that the Trump family is like in bed with Putin. I mean, they're spewing a lot of anti-Ukrainian rhetoric left and right on Twitter, all over the place. And it just like hurts sometimes to read it from. So yeah, in essence, Trump at the presidential helm in the United States in 2014 is gonna probably spell disaster for Ukraine. Number 3, the Chinese situation, right? Well, China's not doing too well, really. The economy is kind of on a brink, right, in China of a recession of its own, and the saber rattling around Taiwan for China would be a pretty tempting distraction. And what if we'll see more protests in China against COVID restrictions and people rising up, and then China will really have to crack down on these protesters? It may very well be more repressions, more deaths, more tortures, and that's it. China's gonna get on the bad side of the United States. I mean, already the situation is really, really bad because, I mean, there's a manufacturing trade war in place that's killing Chinese manufacturing, and getting these products in the United States is getting more and more difficult, especially around technology like semiconductors, obviously. I mean, I think that the United States has single-handedly buried the prospects of these semiconductors in China being released, and that includes also all of these like side industries, adjacent industries like the manufacturing industry, electronics industry, defense industries. There's a lot of things connected to the semiconductor industry in China. So considering all that, what we have to do is we have to make sure that the public opinion across Europe, across the United States, firmly remains in the Ukrainians' favor. After all, right now, 70% of Americans and Europeans believe that what Putin is doing is wrong and he should be punished for his actions. Like, he should not be getting away with this. He should be punished with concrete punishment. But if gas prices skyrocket, if food skyrockets the way it is right now in the UK, then people are going to start singing a different tune. And I mean, recently we're seeing crises pop up left and right from like all over the place, right? You just never know what's going to hit us next in 2023. And whatever that next threat is, it could threaten the support of Ukraine. And that is my number one worry, really. But despite all that, why am I so convinced about Ukrainian victory? Well, I'm going to tell you why. Simply put, there's no way out of this for the civilized world. I mean, there's just simply no other way. This aggression against Ukraine cannot be justified, and the consequences of Putin's actions should be very clear, very decisive, and very swift. And everybody understands that. We have to understand what we're dealing with. I mean, this is not Syria. This is a lot more than what happened in Syria, even though whatever happened in Syria was horrible. We have hundreds of thousands of people dead in Mariupol, which is akin to what happened in Aleppo in Syria. That is 1 out of 4 people dead in that city alone. We're talking about other towns and smaller cities in that area. We're talking about whole area of Donbas, which is the size of Belgium, and then the northern part that is still occupied, all of Luhansk that is occupied as well. We're talking about half of Zaporizhia Oblast occupied, and all of the little cities and towns there. Melitopol is a very big city, there's over 200,000 people there. And we've still got half of Kherson Oblast, we have Crimea, right, that we know of lots of tortures, extrajudicial killings going on there. You have missiles shooting down, maternity wards, schools, hospitals. You have attacks on energy infrastructure. You could go on and on forever. So if we say that all of that is okay, that's going to set a new precedent for the world. I mean, what will China think about Taiwan and its people? What will North Korea do to South Korea? What will Iran do to the women protesting all over the country? And what if these women succeed? We should abandon them? I mean, whatever happens in Ukraine, it's pretty clear that Putin's objective to deny Ukraine's right to exist is not going to work out, really. In the end, Ukraine's going to be a very pro-Western country. It's going to be a Western-oriented country. There's no doubt about that. It's going to have the biggest and the most battle-hardened army in Europe. Even if it will be outside of NATO, that's besides the point. NATO will want what Ukraine has. And Ukraine's success will give all the aggressors in the world something else to think about. They will have to really think hard whether they want to be on the good side of the civilized world or on the bad side. I mean, it's true. A lot of countries in our world, like in South America, South Asia, South Africa, all these southern countries, right, in the south, except Australia, of course. I mean, we're noticing that all these countries are not so decisive on the Ukraine situation. And it's kind of disappointing, but it makes sense when you think about it, because, I mean, for the majority of Southern Hemisphere, including Russia, it seems that these countries that are not democratic, they're just still developing democracies, right? They have these elements that want to cling on to power, right? Democracy represents a threat to them clinging on to power. It's very simple. But one thing can be said for sure. This divide between the free countries and the non-free countries, the countries that value freedom to the countries that want to get away from it, this division between countries that value freedom and that are scared of it, they value democracy or they're scared of democracy, this division will only grow. And there will not be much room for having it both ways. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this little video update. Maybe you learned something new. And yeah, I'll try to make more videos, and hit like and subscribe if you like what I'm saying. And until next time, guys, take care.